Hello, everybody. We didn't talk about who was opening up.
You're in the
Uh,
headlights. Welcome, welcome.
sorry. Welcome to Spirit Coffee Talk. We're really, really happy to have you here. My name is Lisa Richmond. I'm an intuitive medium, and this is one of my very closest besties, Elyse Catherine. And we usually have Ginette Biro here as well, but she wasn't able to make it this week, so we send her love to
Ah,
Ginette. But thank you so much for showing up. And Elise and I were just having coffee and tea beforehand, and we were kind of chatting a little bit about um, a big buzzword has been for a long time is the word manifesting. The concept of manifestation, I feel it's used a ton, but I
mhm,
feel like it's used in a way or defined in a way that is like it has to have this principle and that principle. And did I make that bad thing happen because I thought it in my head? And it's like, you
mhm,
manifested that. You got to be so clear about your thoughts and blah, 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 blah. And I think people can really get, taken in and taken up on the intricacies of manifestation and like how to do it, how not to do it, whether it works and or whether it's your imagination. And we wanted to kind of come on here and just like ease the tension of
mhm,
manifestation a little bit to kind of give a little like little tidbits or simplistic examples of how number one, you're probably manifesting on a daily basis without realizing because it's a part of your process of living, really. And that we are all capable of doing it. And it's nothing to fear if we have a negative thought. It's not like, oh, you thought it instantly, it's going to show up into your head.
mhm,
But when living a belief system for amount of time, you will continue to call in things that are in alignment with that belief system. So that's kind of that varying development of manifestation. So,
mhm.
with all those wordy words, welcome, Elise.
Hello, hello,
Thank
hello.
you for joining me today and
Ah, always a
having
pleasure.
coffee and tea together. So, yeah, like I know that a lot of people that I work with have asked that very question of like, how, like, first of all, how to manifest things. And it's brilliant because you can become conscious about manifesting and then really align your thoughts to help provide the feeling and belief systems in order to attract the things you want,
Mhm,
right? And the feelings and the belief systems in which you have to have in order to maintain the energy
mhm,
to be within what it is that you're wanting, or right? And the same thing can happen where you can say, like, I keep thinking, I want this thing, but it never shows up. I want that perfect relationship. I'm calling in the guy, and all I get is just duds. Like, I keep kissing frogs, kind of thing.
mhm, mhm,
And, it's interesting because most of the things or the thought processes that guide us actually come from the unconscious.
mhm,
And so if we're still holding on to unconscious belief systems about ourselves, about
mhm,
what we deserve,
mhm,
our worthiness, or like, oh, well, that's just reality. That's just life, right?
mhm,
That's the reality in which you've lived in, made choices in, and attract things in. So it's very difficult then to say, I want outside of that.
mhm,
It's like skipping over a highway.
mhm,
Well, you got to take the proper exits and figure out how to get there in a way that works so you can't just go to the action that skips proper steps, right?
mhm, mhm,
And so it really starts with your conscious beliefs, your
mhm,
belief systems. The thoughts that you have create those beliefs. So if you're consciously saying, all I do is attract jerks, all I do is I am a narcissist magnet.
mhm,
Okay. And you really believing that, then when the narcissist shows up time and time again, it's a validation, not because that's what you deserve. It's because
mhm,
it's within that energy field that you are attracting it because you're residing in it because you're comfortable there.
mhm,
And so, in order to start going onto that other highway of
mhm,
attraction, you can't skip the steps of the thoughts that create your beliefs, then that
mhm.
what manifest into your reality, right? And so, it's
Yeah.
really a process of, the law of attraction too, which is like all this, the secret. And
Mhm,
there's more to just saying, I want that. You have to go in and create your reality in your belief system to have that attraction take place within the same resonance.
Mhm.
Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, 100%. I thought yes, and my head, yes, 100% it does. And I feel like if go back and watch the do you self-sabotage video from like a month back, because we spoke
Yes.
exactly about this at length. The whole video is around this idea of I want this thing, but I can't get to it, right? And whether that's I'm actively, consciously in my, 3D actions trying to get to something or create something or achieve something or find something or whatever,
Mhm.
or it's a manifestation practice, that self-sabotage quote unquote piece is what we speak about in that video, is like you said, that unconscious belief system that's running the show. So I would say, like, if you're feeling like, that's me, go back and watch that video, because
Yeah.
the whole video is about that and really runs down the details of that. But I think you're right. And what I heard too, and what was coming up for me was this: one of the most important pieces that I think we miss in our manifestation practices are that felt sense, right? I can say, I want $1 million. I want this. I want that. I want that perfect man. I want that perfect woman. Whatever. The house, the thing, the job, the whatever. But we're saying it from a very mental place.
Yes.
And our internal experience is like, the if you do, or
Yeah.
like, and again, going back to that whole self-sabotage thing, there's a whole bunch of reasons, nervous system wise, spirituality wise, like that happens internally. But oftentimes, the way it used to manifest for me is that in my mind, I'd be like, I want this thing. And then immediately I would have this like feeling internally of like a clench or like a resistance or a contraction. And I came to realize over time that it was my body being like, there's something in you that doesn't believe that. There's something in you that doesn't actually want that. There's something in you that's afraid of that. There's something in you that fears that. Like whatever it is, doesn't believe it can happen for you, right? Like all the things you listed, there's this internal response. And so a lot of people, I think, we think like, oh, manifestation isn't real because I repeated in the mirror 700 times that I love myself, or that I attract the love I deserve. But my internal operating system is like, I call
I
bullshit.
don't believe you.
Yeah. And we cannot lie to ourselves.
Yeah.
Full stop, period. So again, go watch that video because we go into the depths of that. And I think that is such a fundamental piece. And then the world around us tells us, well, you didn't do it right, or you didn't manifest hard enough, or you're not trying, or you're not committed, or you're blah, 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 whatever. And the reality is like there's a big piece that's missing, that putting shame on ourselves when the thing doesn't materialize because we have this internal thing is just going to reinforce that experience of
Totally.
you don't deserve it. See, I told you,
Yeah.
you can't even manifest it.
Yeah. Totally. 100%. And some of it is like breaking it down to its simplest form in the way, although it doesn't seem simple, but really it's like if you go underneath and you go underneath and you go underneath, what is it? The thing that you're trying to manifest so hard, what is it representing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, like,
Yes.
yes, we want, a shelter over our head. We require that. That's a human need, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
like the house, the partner, the car, the job, the money, the money, the money. It's the money, the love, the money, the love,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, what is that? That's like safety, security, worthiness,
Yeah.
safety, security, worthiness,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so going to the depths of that is like that's like core work stuff, man. And so
Yeah.
when we're working on manifesting, we're seeking what is actually available to us in all forms in
Mm-hmm.
abundance because we're born. It's our birthright.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go down to that, like that can be very frustrating. And I know like people who've said that to me in the past when I was in that seeking, it's very frustrating because you're like, F you. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
tried so hard. Like, yeah, says the person who has it kind of thing, you know? But I mean, that's part of the human experience. It's part of our ego is to seek and to find and to grow and to journey in and
Mm-hmm.
to fail in order to learn and to grasp in the depths of shadow in order to stand in the light. That's part of our human experience. That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yet we are here also with full availability to receive in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And it does align in with the manifestation process of our energetic alignment. And so if
Mm-hmm.
we've been told our whole life that we're a piece of shit, then we work and work and work and work to say, like, screw them. Like, I don't believe that. If there's an aspect of self that still truly believes that, that is the frequency in which we're emitting, therefore attracting. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, we deserve to seek that whatever that's going to make us feel like we are the loving energy of our true authentic selves.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you have to kind of go into the layers in order to start saying, like, it is obviously what I continue to seek is the validation of my worthiness,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And money, 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 that's such a safety security thing, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Yeah.
And like, although it's not really a thing, it's an energy exchange, it's still needed in order
Yeah.
to live. Like, it's just a part of this thing that we agreed upon at this
Mm-hmm.
time in Earth's evolution. That's what we need for exchange of goods in order to
Yeah.
like actually live still.
Yeah.
So, in doing that, what we can do then is go under the layers and not necessarily seek the money in
Mm-hmm.
whichever way we perceive. It's trusting that by making the choices in our authentic selves and by learning the self-love stuff and the like how to change the vibration from inside so that it starts emulating out so that you're doing the things that are in alignment with you, how it comes in, you're not going to know.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally like spirit constantly says, that's beyond what you can even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Let us take care of those finite details because if you pinpoint trying to focus on it, you really are creating more resistance. So it is the little roads that you have to take off in order to get to the other highway. You can't jump.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that jump is a far distance because you've gone through so many years of unconscious belief systems of that are not in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is really important to do the work.
Yeah.
It really is. And
Yeah.
if the same thing is showing up, God, I had this conversation yesterday with a very close loved one. You know, same thing, same shit, different pile, we say on the
Yeah.
prairies.
Yeah.
And it's like if spirit is giving you if the universe is giving you
Kinda.
kind of
Universe
the
school.
same thing, yeah, it is human school.
Mm-hmm.
If they're giving you the same thing over and over in a different package, what is it? Okay, it's almost like, all right,
What's the common denominator here?
show me.
Yeah.
Show me because I need to learn this lesson because I really don't want to go down this road again. So I'm going to get off my resistant shoes and the fighting it and be like, okay. And a lot, and like, unfortunately, a lot of it can take on as like victim mentality. And like, look, there's victims. Like we get victimized in things and we
Yeah.
have shitty situations that
Yeah.
suck.
And on your point of money, like there are systems that disadvantage people systemically, right?
A
Like we know this.
hundred
You
percent.
and I talk about this all
Yes.
the time, right? Like there are people that are less privileged. And so they are manifesting, quote unquote. And a lot of people will roll their eyes around, like, I am at a disadvantaged place in this 3D world. How can I sit there and say, oh, you can just like create your whatever you want? And I think again, that's where that missing piece of like, we're missing the human experience of it that becomes ingrained in our bodies, in our beings,
Yes.
that drives us away from unconsciously the things that we wish and desire and wish to create.
But are ultimately available.
Totally. Yeah.
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 And that's why when you're born into a system that is not set up for you to be overwhelmingly abundant financially, like I mean
Mhm.
that is a reality. And
Mhm.
like people are born into horrific situations. Like
Yeah,
I do get that. And there's
for
no
sure.
part of me that doesn't have compassion in that area 100%. And it's those really strong energy forces that do hold us in the belief systems that highway is ultimately completely unachievable, right?
Mhm.
And the system, the roads are hard to get there. They're
Mhm.
closed off. They're not like clear. Some people, you're like, how do you have clear roads there? Right?
Mhm.
In our different human experiences with our soul contracts and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like I think it's becoming more and more obvious in different ways that in whichever capacity and where we come in this world, there are roads that get us there. There
Mhm.
really are.
Mhm.
And when we can disconnect from whether it's the soul lineage or whether it's the ancestral connection, whether it's the epigenetics of the belief systems in which we carry, like physically, right? In which we come in with, is like what is our path to get us there, to get us to
Mhm.
the light, to get us into that self-awareness. And it might not all happen in one life for sure. But I
Mhm.
think that if we've come in at this time, that it's like on a collective level, where the earth is increasing in its frequency. Like we're coming here to wake up to the fact that there is an available road there.
Mhm.
And it looks different to everyone. But
Yeah.
so that's why I'm saying the road, it's not like you can skip it. It's like going in and having to go through those layers of the belief system in order to change it so that they're actually aligned into the frequency of XYZ of whatever it is you're seeking.
Mhm.
That process is vastly different. I get
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
But ultimately, it's the same book written differently.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
The truths, those fundamental truths are there, and there's so many pieces of influence into how those truths play out for each individual person, but it doesn't change the truths. And
That's
there's
right.
injustice in that, and there's systemic crap, and there's people who just like it seems to happen so easily for. And it's like,
Yeah.
we could be born into very similar lives and experiences, and this person creates this life that is all of the things that we quote unquote want. And you're like, how in the hell? Like, how did that happen? And they're like, I just believed it, and then it just happened. And then there's others of us that it takes a lot more work, and then
Yes.
to get to that same place. And maybe we don't ever, because there are soul agreements
That's
and
right.
reasons, things that our spirit is choosing to experience here.
That's right.
So
And Spirit's like really strong right
yeah.
now saying also that highway might be great for a lot of people, but your road may never lead to that because you're not even
Right.
acknowledging that there's a different road that way.
Yes.
And so when you talk to somebody and money wasn't their thing, it just wasn't their issue. It wasn't their karma. It wasn't their
Mm-hmm.
wish, whatever. And they've lived a relatively simplistic life, not like making millions, but not living within, like they're living within their means
Mm-hmm.
and generate the highest frequency and live the most fulfilled existence with either alone or with a partner or like their children or on land or with their animal, whatever the hell it might be, and be vastly different from whatever is perceived as
Yeah.
being the road,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
it's more or less trusting that in the center, the layer in the inside is about ultimate love and acceptance of self, that
Yes.
freedom.
Yes.
And that is what leads you to the road
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
whichever capacity it is. And so
Whichever
we
road
could
you choose.
say, this is what we want. Yes, it's nice to be able to do that. But mostly being able to be like, I be in the feeling. What does that
Exactly. Yeah.
feeling feel like? Right. And if it's that projection of your ultimate self-love,
Mm-hmm.
that looks again vastly different, but that is the core of manifesting is
Yes.
for your greatest good so that you live in your greatest power
Mm-hmm.
and your like truest authentic life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the manifesting isn't working because you keep taking the wrong turn,
Totally. Yeah.
right?
Or your brain jumps in and starts to really control the outcome, the way it looks, right? Manifesting was really my entryway into spirituality, to be honest, because it was the day of Gabby Bernstein becoming an author, and really, and it felt really tangible, and it felt really like, okay, this is easy. And I like leaned into it, really not realizing that, like, if I'm desperately wanting this thing, and it's no, slight on Gabby Bernstein or the meditation teachers of that time necessarily, but I was so mental with it, of like, I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing. And she would often say, it's this or something better. And in my mind, I remember being like, it's this or something better, but let it be that. Like, please let it be this. Please have it be this, though.
But I really just want this.
But I really just really, really want this. But there's a control within that. There's a like gripping within that. And that
That's right.
inherently signals of resistance, but also, I don't trust it.
Yes.
I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to come. And again, so many reasons, right? Going back to that self-sabotage video, it's like there's so many reasons for that. And to be gentle and love yourself and support yourself through that in a variety of ways. And then turn towards, okay, I've created a little bit of trust. Maybe the thing that I'm manifesting, I can't hold in a felt sense. Like, if I'm trying to manifest the perfect relationship, and there's this internal thing, and I'm trying to turn towards it, and I'm getting down to the root of like, what is it that I really want? I want love. I want to be cherished. I want to be safe and held. And I'm trying to feel those things, and my system's like, no, flag of, okay, there's something for me there to work through, to support, because it feels too intense, or it's too far. So what can I look towards in the meantime that feels or creates that sense of safety? Maybe it's, I can feel that in my relationships with my friends right now. I can feel cherished and loved in those core experiences that I'm really looking to have. Okay, use that energy to feel it. Use that energy to date yourself. Maybe you're like super, super confident in your own experience, and you can feel really safe with yourself, but not with a partner. Okay, well, like, experience that within yourself. Take yourself on dates, romance yourself, cherish yourself.
Ask yourself for advice.
Totally.
Yeah.
It then gives you, it bridges you towards the things that you desire. So if you're finding you're like, this or something better, and then there's this like feeling internally, and you're trying to grip and control, take some steps back. Doesn't mean you're not still working to that place, but my opinion would be, it probably is going to come in faster if you take the slow road, because right, the tortoise or the hare, you want to rush there, or do you want to take the methodical way that allows you to create safety instead of bumping up against all of these
because it can just, that's why things like it's really reflected in human behavior. You're given somebody wants all the money, they win the lottery, money's gone. It's because you have to maintain the resonance it takes to keep in the frequency of the desired behavior and all that, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. So yeah, you can rush things and be like, oh, right? And it's great, it got the thing. But how to maintain it is one of the hardest parts. Of how to maintain it is the building blocks of manifesting it in the first place, of getting there in that belief system that you deserve it, right? That self-sabotage, that, those building blocks to get there. And that's a part of our human evolution, of our own individual experience, as well as the collectives. Right? Influencing each other in this. And I think we give our power away a ton with this, asking someone else what they think, seeing that somebody else is really happy when they made this choice and do this thing. So I want to be happy like that person. So I want to do that. And then finding that it's not our resonance, right? And so manifesting obviously has so many different things to it. But I mean, if you take it down to its simplest form, it is connecting with self. And asking oneself, what is it that I truly want in this situation for this one moment, even in time, and allowing that to grow.
Mm-hmm.
and trusting that you can make those choices and trusting yourself with making those
Mm-hmm.
choices and developing that safety and security because you're never alone. Truly, you have
Mm-hmm.
yourself and you have your guidance team.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're there,
Yeah.
right? And so when we give less power to the outside noises, then we can go in and really actually redefine what it is that we truly want in order to like create that feeling, that belief within oneself in
Mm-hmm.
order to receive from for your greatest good. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
really is. It
Yeah.
isn't like your purpose and like the big isn't just like one stop. What's my purpose? Show me like when is that moment? Your
Mm-hmm.
purpose is this. You're
Yeah.
living it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
saw a sign the other day. This reminds me, I went to my friend's house the other day and she had a big sign in her front entryway that said, "These are the good old days."
Mm.
I was like, oh my God, these are the good old days. These are the good old days, like right now. Because you can
Mm.
look back and have these stories about
Yeah.
connecting over spirit coffee talk or going to, friends and
Visit a
being able to see
friend.
each other, seeing your babies grow up, doing whatever. These are the good old days. And when you
Mm-hmm.
go, another thing, gratitude, right?
Yes.
Gratitude then opens your heart space that much more. That's why it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because gratitude is the key on unlocking what your truest vibration is. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's that truest vibration that is the connector.
Yeah.
That's why people talk about gratitude. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you do it, it unlocks that heart space of authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it energetically brings you into that vibration of love, right? It energetically, and going back to a couple of videos ago where we talked about love frequency and the vastness of what that actually means, that it brings you into this moment of like, I do have amazing things in my life. I have amazing
Yes.
people. I have, regardless of what all of the sum of it is, those things are there and they always will be. And the earth is incredible and there's magic all around me. And inherently connecting in with that, sitting. And when we say gratitude, it's not just like, I am grateful for the Spirit Coffee Talk. I am grateful for my coffee. They can be small, minute things, but it's not from a robotic place of like, yeah, okay, I'm grateful. Yeah, okay, I'm grateful. Check, check. I did the gratitude, right? It's again, all of it comes back to the felt sense.
Yeah.
Writing down, I'm grateful for coffee versus like, I am grateful for the warmth of the coffee cup in my hand. And I get a moment of quiet where I get to sit with my dogs in the morning and
How does it
take a
make me
breath.
feel?
Like,
Yeah.
oh, and it just like that is a totally different experience than
Yeah.
check, 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 right? That, and so when you drop into the feeling,
Yes.
you, and so I guess this kind of goes into, what the manifestation process is. So for me, it's centering myself, it's trying to bring, whether that's meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's pulling some cards, it's bringing myself into the moment, it's connecting in with gratitude, what feels good, what brings me into that love space, thinking about the people that I love, or beautiful memories, things that bring me into that heart space, that true frequency of
Yes.
love, and then shifting towards what is it that I desire. And our brains are, incredible things, but they're also super cute in that they don't know the difference between what you're imagining and what is actually happening in front of them. So for our brain, when I sit with my eyes closed and envision the outcome of this thing that I want to happen or experience, and I feel it and I like move through it in my mind, my brain doesn't know that that's not real. And there's
Exactly.
studies around that physiologically, there's studies around like basketball players and sports players practicing making shots and not doing it, and then controls of the people that are actually
Yes.
practicing, and then people who do both, and the people who do both far and away do better, but the people who don't actually practice but just recite it in their mind have similar outcomes to the ones that physically do the practice. So like
Alone. Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
real. And so when you allow yourself to just like exist in that and feel that space, and in your mind's eye walk through that experience and feel it as if it's happening right in front of you, because your mind doesn't know it
Yes.
isn't, that energetically brings things in. It allows your brain to look for opportunities to
That's right.
continue those things. It creates safety in your nervous system. it's
Yes.
it's the ultimate mind body experience of
Yeah.
bringing in, or mind body spirit experience of bringing in what it is that you're desiring. And
Because it's in connection. It's like a magnet.
Yeah.
It's the right magnetic connection. So you start pulling
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you see the opportunities, and
Yeah.
it just becomes we talked last week about the flow. You just get into this flow of it. And when you're in flow, the desire is not to control, right? Going
Right.
back to what we were speaking to before, we start to
Yes.
let go of that control, because even if I don't see the outcome yet right in front of me, I can feel it. And I
Yes.
know that it's present in me now, in
Yeah.
past me, right? Time is not real. It's a psych, it's all,
Yeah.
so it's happening already. And I
Yeah.
just have to lean into
Yes.
that process.
But can't you feel such a difference on that in the evolution of self? Like look back at and like past versions of self with love,
Oh
obviously.
yeah, yeah.
But you know when like you didn't get something and it's like devastating where you're like, holy shit, like my whole world is like and then like your desire for something, like when you look at the old manifestation card, and then after like the growth and understanding and that like sensation of being in the moment and feeling like inside, feeling into that sense of
Mm-hmm.
self and holding that as your truth and your reality. When something doesn't work, it's like it may not be right away, but it's way easier to come to that place of being like, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be then. Like it wasn't either at this moment, not to say
Mm-hmm.
never, but like obviously because my number one focus up always is to connect myself into my alignment for my greatest good and the greatest good of all involved.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not that right now, I have to trust that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as I don't trust that, it brings me out of that alignment. Am I chasing something, chasing a road that's not in my highest good right now?
Yeah.
That's what feels like a door in my face over and
Yeah.
over, right?
Yeah.
And so the pendulum swing is far less now with when you really embody that feeling. So yeah, you can feel disappointment, obviously, of things because it happens, or pain, or like why, like deep losses and stuff. Like I acknowledge that. Like why? Like, but
Mm-hmm.
in the big scheme of things that this is a part of the alignment or it
Mm-hmm.
isn't. Or, like, and the
Mm-hmm.
more that you can trust that, the more in flow you can be to be able to receive what is in alignment. And that's why Spirit says you can't possibly even know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. In the love frequency episode, I spoke about a relationship, and that at that time, this was a relationship where I was like really acting. I was trying to activate manifestation to like make it work out, because I just was like, oh, I want this.
Yeah.
And I was manifesting this positive outcome with our relationship, and and there was always a resistance there, and there was always, but I always was saying it's this or something better. It's this or something better. That relationship ended. It crashed and burned. She did not thrive. and
Yeah.
and it devastated me. It broke my heart. The relationship itself really harmed me in a lot of ways. And within 3 weeks of that relationship ending, which I actually ended shockingly because I was not in the energy of that space, something changed in me. Like I hit this point where I was like, I'm done. And I drove to his house in the middle of the night, broke up with him, and drove home and was like, I'm effing done. I'm done. I can't, I'm done. And I remember as it was happening being like, what is happening? Because I
Yeah. What did I
had this
do?
energy come, no, but like this energy that came into me that was like, oh my gosh, this is not me. It was me, but it was not my human me that I knew to
Right.
understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And 3 weeks after that, I signed up for this random personal training certification where I met Miss Ginette Bureau.
No
And
way.
swear to God,
Really?
swear to God. And was it probably about 6 months later, within a year, I went to a reader of some sort, and like meeting Jeanette and all of this really is what started. I was dabbling in spirituality, but that swung the door open for me and really connected me in with the things that were already happening that I just didn't have an awareness of, were intuition, etc. And I remember having a reading with this woman, and she brought up a past relationship. And I was like, okay, I think I know what you're talking about. And she was like, yeah, there was a past life
I
connection.
remember
And
that.
yeah, whatever. Uh, just kidding. But she's like, there's this past life connection where he was like, you were a spiritual healer, and you were running this like background women led, like spiritual witchy business. And he was your storefront, and he sold you out, and you were killed for the work that you were doing. And I'm even getting chills thinking about that now.
Oh, so am I. Oh my
Because it was like,
God.
my spirit was like, we are not going down that road until
We
this
are
person
not,
is out of your life.
it's time for your spirituality. You're waking up to it and you cannot have this in your life.
Yes. And
Wow.
so going back to the manifestation of like, I thought I wanted this relationship to work out and there was good in it. And, I learned things about myself and he helped me learn things about myself. So it wasn't all bad, which was the things that I was so desperately holding on to. Right. But when I
Of
come back to
course.
it's this or something better, the better was that I connected with my whole self and I opened
Yeah.
up, and that point completely changed the trajectory of my life. And I had a lot of healing that I had to do and a lot of things. 6 months after that, I was in mediumship circles,
Wow.
learning and growing, and had
What year
first
was
premonition.
this? What year was
Oh
your big
gosh.
awakening?
Mm, like what's time? 2000, I want to say like 10ish,
Hmm.
11ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Um, within that time, like within 6 months, I'm in a mediumship circle, have my first meditation where my now partner's higher self walks in and is like, I'm coming in. Like craziness. So all to say,
This is
when
so
you
cool.
step back and it's like it's this or something better, the thing doesn't work out. It doesn't happen the way you want it to. It doesn't. There is better. There is,
Yeah.
you just have to keep holding the frequency of that which you desire.
Yeah.
And what I desired was, not what that relationship with this person was going to ever be able to give me at the end of the day. My brain didn't want to know that or believe that at the time, but that was the reality of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's like a whole bunch of stuff. First of all, I really want to acknowledge you for letting us in on that
Oh,
personal
thanks.
part of your story. I really do appreciate you sharing that. And for everyone watching, sending so much love and really feel free to leave your story in the comments or let us know how
Mm-hmm.
the manifestation process has changed and evolved in your existence too. And I hope that there's something in this conversation that has really elicited an aha moment for you and how then to really trust that like under all the layers, right, there lies you,
Mm-hmm.
something which is never dies,
Mm-hmm.
and for you to connect into that authentic peace and trust more that
Mm-hmm.
that light will guide you and that we all have our wants and stuff, but when you go into the core and trust that you're lined up and listening to you, that core version of self, and trusting that and making the choices based upon that, of your greatest good,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the roads start to show up. So
Mm. Yeah,
I
that's
hope
beautiful.
that, yeah, I hope that this lands and
Yeah.
that people can take some of this home with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you
I
so
want to just,
much.
can I just say, Spirit, like
Yeah.
I was not going to do, and it's like, so, and it's probably so that I actually do the thing. So I'm putting it out there.
Okay.
Shameless self promotion. They have been nudging me for months now, and I just haven't had the space. And I think it's timing astrologically as well, but they have been nudging me for months to create a space of this, of monthly membership or like community where we meet and we connect back in with ourselves. It's like a soft place to land. It's a space of mind, body, spirit being able to come back into ourselves, and then doing this process called somatic dreaming, which I was trained in by my somatic teacher, of manifestation with the somatic component of allowing yourself to hold space for those blocks, to hold space for those resistances, to hold space for that like rubbing up against the things that feel uncomfortable, to
Mm-hmm.
help clear that in the process. So
Yes.
I feel very uncomfortable saying that outwardly. I like
Elise,
was like, I don't want
yes,
to say it. I
you
don't want to
did.
say it.
Yes, you
But here it is.
did. That's
So
so great.
if you're
Yes.
interested in that, stay tuned.
Throw it into existence. Oh, this is
It
so
feels like it's coming.
energetically aligned. Yes, it's
Yeah.
time. Yes,
Yeah.
queen. Fuck yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, if you're interested,
Yes.
give me
So
a
when
follow.
you, yes, keep developing that because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people,
I
myself
know. I
included. This
know.
is a
I know.
big deal, Elise. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're putting it
And
out
now,
there.
now there's people
We're
who
manifesting
are
it.
like, yes, Elise, this is, you put it into play now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that. This or something better, Elise.
This or something better. And to all of you, this or something better.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, thanks everybody for joining us today, and we'll see you again next week. Sending lots and
Yes.
lots of love out.
Bye.
Peace.